Hello everyone. Well, I want to give you a little bit of progress report on the Manx quilt. I have gotten this far, and I just want to tell you there's a reason why it's only this far. I'm going to have to go on my timeout for a reason. I love this. The hand sewing is coming along great. You can see there's a little bit of a pleat that gives you a folded look, and it also covers the big stitch. It is on a foundation back, and you can see that I have finger pressed some guidelines on how wide these blocks, the logs in the little cabin are going to be, but I have to put it away there because my thumb. Last December, I grew my nails out really long for me. I grew them out and I started getting into doing my nails, and I have bad balance, and I jammed the nail, the edge of my countertop. The nail bent forward, and I'm like, great, the nail didn't break. It did. It split up the nail. So I've been going to the salon for months. I found a nail artist who is able to put a nail filler on it, a special kind that is keeping my nail in one piece. And this time I had her put some pretty polish on it. So I can't do that type of running stitch because the nail started to split. Yeah, it split and reopened, and this only holds for a period of time, and I can't sew. It's too much of this type of pressure on the nail. So instead, I on Mother's Day found this fantastic website that sells Liberty charms. Look at the little business card, and I'm going to flip this over so you can get all of her info. Pull it a little bit. So the Instagram site is sweet_liberty_life. Her Etsy shop is Liberty Charms. And I bought, oh, and did I tell you, it's Tana Lawn Liberty of London fabric from Norwich, England. And each little square is 2.5 inches, and I got 80 of them. So I'm not going to go through all 80, but I want to show you some of my favorites. Here are some flowers, and look at the little birds. Then they get kind of wild. See, Liberty of London has been around since 1875. Look at this one, is more of a sweet old-fashioned, and this is a little pow modern. Some are more of just a nice background print, and then there's psychedelic mushrooms. I love it. So I have 80. I got one pack in 40 that is pinks. And then I got another collection that is just a random collection that she pulled together that would look nice. And look, there's even drummers. This is the highest quality of their, the Tana Lawn is their own type of very, very nice fabric. You could make dresses out of these, but I like is these tiny little scraps make great hexagons. So I've been totally inspired by Kate at the YouTube channel called The Last Homely House East of the Sea. She lives in England also, and she does English paper piecing. So I have a little bag of all of my hexagons. I have a Cricut, and I cut them out of cardstock. So a 1-inch hexagon, let me find one that's pretty new. I've used these in another project. This one is pretty new. 1-inch hexagon means it's 1 inch on the side. This fits a 2.5-inch square perfectly, and you baste it. Now, I prefer a simple method where you use a glue stick, but I use washable Elmer's glue. This is very inexpensive in the kids' school supply, and mine's purple. You run a little line of glue along the edge and you snugly fold it down. Do that on all sides, and you have yourself a stack of little adorable hexagons. So this is a couple of different times this week. I've spent 15 minutes or so, and they look like little gems. Oh, this one is one of my favorite, like a cherry blossom. I am enchanted. I have done hand piece these. I'll make grandmother's flower garden style where you turn these into flowers. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort these on my design wall, and I'm going to try to figure out just a nice, pleasing arrangement of these beautiful Liberty of London. Now, I've been bitten by the bug. I can do this kind of hand sewing because it is a whip stitch, not a running stitch that uses a lot of pressure on my thumb, of course, on my dominant hand. Whip stitching, actually, I use a lot more of my fingers. So when I get all of these prepped, I'm just going to start sewing them in rows. Oh, I love these. I'm really into pink right now, and I want to just kind of add a lot of these that they're not all going to be pink. It's just going to flow. So you just sew them together in a row. Probably, a few, a row of about 6 or 7 at a time. And then you sew another row, and then you just put them together. Like every other row will be, it won't be straight on the end. And then you have options of how you want to do a border. So look at these cuties. It's going to be fun, and I enjoy this as part of my slow stitching, and I am really into slow living. So I just want to talk about that a little bit before we go. I have a long arm machine and a sewing machine, so I'm into fast sewing and quilting, but truly the whole process is very slow. Slow living has really been around for a long time. Since I found out about it, like the dawn of the internet. And slow living is about just taking time, savoring the moment, eating food. Slow food is food that is in season, in a lengthier meal, not rush, slowly cooked, and scratch cooking is what my grandma used to call it. That kind of a aspect, and enjoying it with family or friends. And the older I get, number one, I'm slower, but I'm enjoying the slow living and the savoring of each moment. And so that's what this type of project does. I'm okay with the Manx quilt block going in timeout until my hand is healed, and that may be next year when I get this back out. But I'm going to keep doing these. I enjoy having handwork as well as my knitting. But hexagons, yeah, you just keep working. This may be a multi-year project, and I only have 80 squares, right? That's not enough. So I found more Liberty, but it's not a Tana lawn. They're 2.5-inch squares that Riley Blake did a motif fabric lines of old Liberty archived patterns. This is just, if you don't know much about Liberty, go to their website and look up their history. It's amazing. They've been around since 1875. They have hundreds of these lovely, lovely patterns in their archives, these fabric designs. You can get, also it's a department store, so you can get prints, you can get ceramics, you can get clothes, jewelry, some of the most was considered avant-garde. Now we just consider it pretty darn cool. So this is my slow living project. I like doing things by hand and slow, even if it's hand guided with a machine. And I'm just enjoying the spring and this lovely sunshine that we haven't had much of all winter here on the 45th parallel. So that's my new project. This is going to be a long, slow project, and that's okay. I don't have any deadlines on this. In fact, I don't take very many deadline projects anymore because I enjoy savoring each moment. I hope you have time to savor the moments this week, whether it's a fine meal with friends or even a barbecue, and enjoying listening to the birds sing outside, watching my plants grow in the garden, and just the amount of time it takes to really look at each little piece of these fabrics. I just love it. And looking at the design, the art, each one is like its own little tiny masterpiece. And that's this week's vlog. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I do have a website, mycreativecorner3.com. I do a weekly article called Saturday Morning Coffee, and I'm doing a TikTok series on gardening. I love gardens, but I really hate gardening sometimes, and it's super slow for me. So that's on V Holloway 123445 is my TikTok handle. I'll put some of those links in the description below. Feel free to leave a comment. What do you think about Liberty? And I've never worked with Tana lawn before, so I think sewing it by hand is going to be lovely. Have you had the Riley Blake Moda quilting cotton Liberty? Because I have about another 160 of those little squares coming. And please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing a vlog about every 2 weeks, and I do the audio podcast on YouTube every 2 weeks. And I really enjoy hearing from you, so feel free to leave a comment. Thanks, everybody, and have a wonderful week.